So what is focus stacking? Focus stacking is capturing detailed subjects like landscapes or macro photography. But achieving sharpness throughout the entire image is what's a challenge. That's where focus stacking comes in. This is a technique that combines multiple images, each with a different focus point, to create one final shot with perfect clarity from front to back. In this tutorial, I'll walk you through how to do this step by step in Luminar Neo. Luminar Neo makes this extremely easy to do within seconds. So let's dive in. So you can see with these 4 shots, I have done that exact thing where I've focused on a little bit at a time from left to right and a kind of a front to back. A little bit of each one of these images that I'm showing are slightly in focus more than the others, or are in focus, while the other parts get blurred. So now I'm going to walk you through on how to load these images from your hard drive. You can see on the left, this is where Luminar catalogs your photos. So you click on this button, it opens up a window, and you go to wherever your files, your source files are stored. This is the path I've created for mine, and you go there and import those. This is now a new catalog for your files. You can see them right there. I just call them stack sequence. So what I'm showing you now is I've double clicked on one to open it up in the edit tab, or you can just click the edit tab and click on it. And what you can see is like the POLA is in focus, but once you start getting more to the right of the OID and the lenses, it's out of focus, it's blurred. So our focal point is that POLA area. And now we're going to move on to the other image, which is down there in the bottom left. That's your film strip of images of what's in that folder. So now that you can see the kind of ROID is now more in focus, where the POL is out, but still the lenses themselves are out of focus. Now if we move to the third image, we've adjusted our focal point again to a different spot. And now you can see the Polaroid is getting pretty blurry, but the first glass lens area there is, it's pretty in focus. It's as sharp as can be, and we can adjust that later. But so that's what's in focus now. You can see it's perfectly sharp for the most part, and still to the left and right are blurry. And in the fourth image, once we select it, Luminar loads it up, you're going to see that now the far right lens is in focus, but all the way to the left is slowly from blurry, and it kind of slowly gets more and more in focus as we go. So those are our 4 focal points, and you can do as many focal points as you need to in whatever you're shooting. But this is just an example for this to get the idea, so you can see how to do this. Now we've come back to our main catalog source. You can see the file folders on the left. Here's our main 4 images, 1, 2, 3, 4 from left to right. And on the right there, you see something called focus stacking. So all we're going to do is grab each of these images. Doesn't really matter the order you grab them in. And we're going to drop them into the focus stack drop area right there. So just select each one. Click, drag, hold, and it's going to drop them in there. And you can do this with as many groups. Go ahead and click on the little ellipses, click the auto align, just click on everything. Just let the program do what it does, and hit stack. And now it's going to take those images and line up the 4 focal points for you, just like that. This used to have to manually be done before the invention of AI has made it so much easier. You'd have to take each image, manually layer them in something like Photoshop or Affinity Photo, and erase what you did not want to see, or paint back what you did want to see, so it all blends together as far as the main focused areas. and that's how you got your perfectly focused image. But Luminar Neo and all the artificial and all the AI technology is taking away a lot of the tedious work for you and just giving you a good jump start of probably 75-80% of the work done just like that, and then from there you do further color corrections or whatever it is you want. So now that it's done, you can see we have our one image which has taken the four and blended them all together into one perfect photo. So what Luminar does when you do certain things like HDR merge and focus stacking, it makes a folder there on the left, and that's where it automatically puts these composites for you if there's not one already there. So when it's your first time, it's going to put one, but you can move these out into your own file structure. So if you click on it, now if you look at it from left to right, is now for the most part perfectly in focus, and we'll further adjust the sharpness and things like that. But unlike before where I was showing you where each image had a little bit of a had the sharpness and then everything else was blurry, but now from left to right and kind of forward to back, all that is nice and sharp now. And that would, you know, if you took them good really up front, then you'd probably be done. But we're going to further enhance with some color correction and further sharpness detail to really make everything pop, even the little rainbow colors. So now that we have our main image composited with all our focal points, now we can go over to our effects and filters over here and further enhance our image to make it really stand out and pop for the client or whatever it is the endpoint is we're trying to do. So I usually start off with develop and adjust the base settings of here, and you'll see as we adjust and move things just a little bit, and that's our preview button up there, the little eyeball, so you can test what you've adjusted. You can see it's just a minor tweak, a little bit of a darkness in there, sharpness, contrast that we've adjusted. And then we'll go down to some shadows, see if that helps at all, kind of brighten up some of the darker areas just a little bit. And then once again, check our work. We can kind of see what the effect is. You can see it's subtle, but it's something. And then we go down to our blacks and whites and adjust this, blacks, push that down, really make the blacks nice and crisp and deep like that. Once again, check our work. You can see it's little by little adding up more and more. Sharpness, so we think that we're looking at it, even if it is to our eye like pretty much perfectly sharp, by adjusting some additional sharpness, you'll really see that, oh wow, we could really get a little bit more out of this that we had no idea that we could do. So let's see what that looked like. Once again, it's just little by little adding. And we're seeing the effects, but the end person will never know what the original looked like and what the final looked like. We can see it because we're going back and forth with it on it. Color, just the saturations, vibrance, whatever it is you want here. Just make those colors really pop more, whatever it is that's in there. If you want to take some of the yellows out or add a little more blue tone, cool tone to it. This is all opinion, whatever happens, or whatever it is that it looks like. And how it looks good to you. You can see by adjusting the saturation, now the rainbow color and the yellows really pop out some more right now. And even some of the other blacks and stuff like that, that all helps. So every effect filter over here on the right has a masking, and what you see here, if it doesn't have one, you can just click fill, and all the other buttons will be grayed out. But as soon as you click fill, those will come in, and then sometimes there's already a mask applied. The red is a 100% showing a mask. It's full color, full adjustment of your effects that you've applied. Now if we click invert, that's like an instant 100 erase. The mask is still there, but you can paint it back only in the areas that you want. So we go to brush, adjust our size, our softness, and then our strength as well, how much of effect you want to apply, paint in or erase out, depending on which way you're going with this. So I have 100% strength. We're just making the brush. This is just for demonstration to show you what's happening. But you see, if I turn the preview on and off, nothing's happening because we've erased our effects. So now I'm going to paint back in just in the areas that I want those adjustments to affect. And that's what the red is showing. The red will go away as soon as you let go of your stroke. And then see, we had show on, so let's turn show off, and that way we can't see it. But when you paint, so you can see if you pop the preview on, off, you're seeing that it's only affecting that one area and not the whole camera like it was before. So that's what masking does, and that's how you do that. So the show is, if you turn show on, it's always on, so you can always see what you're affecting. But when it's off and you use your erase or paint in, when you click and drag, it shows. But when you're done with your paint effect and release the mouse button, it will go away. So you can have your choice of having it always on and manually turning it on and off, or having it so it shows and disappears by itself. So once again, you can see the preview. We have only affected where the red area was, which is just that front area, but not the rest of the camera. So this is what masking is, and every layer effect has that. So I'm just gonna hit fill and reapply the whole thing back, so it's affecting the whole image again, and undid what we just did. Once you apply an effective filter, it puts it under this edits tab. So all the effects you put on there, as you will see, we go through this. Each time we adjust something, it puts it here on top of what we previously did. And this is where you go to further adjust things later. So our next thing we're going to add is some details. So this really sharpens up, as you can see, small, medium, and large details, and the overall sharpen to kind of boost everything. But as you see, when I adjust we'll start with small details and push that up a little bit. See, it's just subtle in the minor details. That was, obviously that's 100, it's doing everything. But however that works, it's only affecting some of the smaller detail areas. So we'll push this up to about 20. And then show you, turn it off. Turn it on. It's just very subtle and what it's affecting. So we'll go to our medium details, push that up to 20 also. Like I said, this is all preference on what looks good. turn the preview on and off. You can see just a little bit. It even sharpens it up a little bit more. And last one, the large details. I'm just going to put that at 20 as well. And once again, turn on and off the effect. See, it's very subtle, but it does make a difference. You know, you would never know that just additional things. You know, the camera can only do so much, and then from there you further in post really make the photo of a product or a person pop even more. So under here, under dramatic, we're gonna see what this does just to give it a little more, you know, something in there. Really make it sharpen it up even more. Really make those colors in the image really stand out just a bit more. You can see what it does, especially kind of back to the left, and a little in the focused or in the unfocused area. So it's just playing around with the effects and the sliders, seeing what it does. Sometimes they do kind of nothing, and other times a little bit. So just kind of see what it does. It's never the same on each photo and image. You never know what it's really going to affect. So those are the three we did here. And you can see each time you add a new effect filter, it puts it on top of the previous one. Now you can't move these around, so if you wanted to, for example, put develop on top of, at the very top, you can't. They're locked in the order that you create them. So if you wanted to do that, you'd have to go to whatever layer you want to move, click on it, reset it to where it removes all the effects right there. The little undo arrow that resets the whole layer, and now you get the little trash icon and you can hit delete. That removes it. Now you can go back to tools, to whatever one you want it to be on top of something else. Make some adjustments. I'm just gonna pop back in 20 on each of these real quick. Close it, then we go back to edits, and now that is what's on top and not below. So it doesn't really make a difference on the layer order, but it's just kind of frustrating that you can't move them around. The one thing I'm not a fan of in Luminar Neo is you can't So now you can see the color rainbows really pop out. The lenses are even more sharp and in focus than they were before. And now we're going to go into the erase effect filter. You can see these little dots. This camera is really dirty on purpose. I just grabbed that. It wasn't supposed to be nice and clean, but showing you where I can see these little dots, and say if that was the only thing on there, you come over to erase, adjust your brush size. There's no softness, it's just the hardness. Softness is there, it's always the same. All you can do is adjust the size. The lowest you can go is 10 up to whatever. So we're just going to stick to 10 right now. And then how this works is you just click on a point, it puts a little red dot. So you do a whole bunch of clicks on what you want to erase, like little dust particles. things like that. And that's what we're going to go do through here. I'm just randomly picking some of the bigger spots that you see. And you've got this little hair right here, so you can even, you know, obviously go across somewhat of a texture, and you'll see what happens with that. So most of the time it works. Sometimes it kind of gets a little messed up, but you just gotta adjust the way you do the erasing. And then you click erase, and you just wait. It processes, and you'll see once it's done what this did with just a click. We didn't clone anything or stamp. It was just a click to erase, and it automatically does all the fill-in work for you. And you can see all those little dots are gone, just like that. Just took a few seconds. Even the hair and the texture, the vertical texture, stayed nice and good with the colors and the gradients and the light. And if you see, we click on the preview, turn off what we did, you see the little specks come back, go away, come back, go away. And just like that, you've cleaned up the image real quickly. And then you can, as you do more, you can see, oh, I missed a spot, and it just keeps adding it to it. It doesn't make like another erase layer, it's all just one. Click erase again, and those dots go away. And then if you want to just bring it all back, all you got to do is hit the undo at the very top arrow. And there you go. All your dirt is back. Even the hair, everything is back to the original way it was. See, even though we adjusted it and undid it, it still always adds it back into the edits tab. So you just have to go back there and delete it. Really more for organization, so you remember what you did. This is the overall preview for the entire image. So if you had multiple layers in another spot, this is going to show that. So turn off, turn on, off, on. So you can see the huge difference that what we thought would have been a done image is even better. This is another way to do preview, you know, the left and right slider. So if you prefer this way or it makes a difference, that's what this is. Just left, right. You can see how we're sliding and showing little bits. Showing. This is the film strip thumb. So if you had multiple images down here, multiple batches of focal points, they'd all be right there. Or just a folder that's full of, you know, 4 or however many images, they'd all be showing right there. Once you're done, you come up to the right, click export. Choose where you're going to save it. I'm just going to choose that folder right there. Below, this is the size, the original. You can change how you choose the size. So if you want long edge from left to right, you enter a dimension, 4,000 pixels, 5,000 pixels, whatever it is, and it automatically calculates the vertical edge. So you only need to put one in there. Next is the format. JPEG is always going to be what you're going to use. PNG and TIFF support something called a transparency alpha channel and less compression, but you won't need that. 72 is the normal standard of a digital or screen, computer screen, phone screen resolution. If you needed it to be more, for example 300 dpi, this is for print. So that really boosts up the quality of the image. And this is a compression quality. So if you wanted to push that down to 80, I've noticed I don't see any difference, and you're getting a smaller file size. So, but we'll just leave it at 172 because most things are all computer screen now anyways. But either way, if you kept it at 72 and shot raw at a high res image with your camera, you'll get a really good resolution anyways, to where you still might not even need to put other than 72 and still print just fine. So now let's go check our work, our exported image. Here's where we saved it, or where I saved it. Right there, that's our final exported image. I'm just going to click spacebar to preview open, and there's our final image. Colors look good. Everything's in focus of what we wanted to be in focus. These are a before and after of what I did earlier. So you can see the left is the merge before we did our color adjustments and sharpness, and how much of a difference it is. The colors and everything, what a difference even just minor tweaks, additional tweaks can do to an image that really help in the end result. If you notice the Polaroid, the glass lenses, the colors, the rainbow colors, all that is much more vibrant and even more sharp and in focus. So if we go back to our catalog, that's our merged image. So now I'm going to show you how to move it from Luminar's default spot and how to make your own folder in your own catalog of where you originally imported your source files. So you right click, go to new subfolder, call it whatever you want. Hit enter, go back to Luminar's folder, just click drag over your folder and it moves it. Doesn't copy it, it's gone. You can see it says 0. It moved it, so now it just helps keep your files a lot more organized once you really start getting busy doing multiple projects, multiple clients, and so on. Not having everything in one folder and remembering where everything is when you have hundreds of photos of similar things. And that's it. That is focus stacking.